I was sitting at the communal table at Starbucks when a guy came over and said, "Are black people allowed to sit here?" It was a trick question, but I answered and said, "Yes, all are welcome." It was a trick question because whose place is it to say you're welcome or not? The day before at the same table, I accidentally knocked somebody's phone off the table when they had plugged it in through the strap of my gym bag. I said I was sorry, and the lady said, "No, no, you're not." She said, "You're lying." She proceeded to tell me that everything I said would be held against me as evidence of my lying because she knew I was not sorry. After I thought about it later in the day, I thought, she probably was right. I probably didn't care. And all the evidence held against me for being a bad person, all I can say is, been there, done that. Welcome. Welcome to Conservative Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. At Conservative Hour, we're trying to hold the space for conversation about politics, governance, philosophy, and the ethics of being human. It's not the same thing. Governments contend with other governments, and political parties contend with other political parties, but humans have to interact, contend, and love each other. It's messy business. It's easy to tread on each other without even trying. And then we're accused of being a bad person when we're simply just going about the business of being human. From a philosophical point of view, it comes down to the idea of who decides if we're a good person or a bad person, for following the rules or for being a rules breaker. Who decides if we're even human? Enter everyone's favorite topic, abortion. It's right on cue because it's at the crux of our debate. Do we have the right even to exist? And are our rights given by God or given by the state or some random arbiter at Starbucks? You would think we could find common ground on the idea that we have rights to begin with instead of getting into this argument about where they come from and who's allowed to sit at the table and who's not. On the call, we discuss a lot of nuanced topics, but a recurring theme is that people don't feel heard. And we want everyone else to just shut up because we're all so ignorant. I get it. But if you really believe the state should protect our rights by silencing others, shouldn't everyone be protected, even those who are stupid? Last week on the call, we revisited the idea that only 30% of the people in this country are even engaged on philosophical, political, or social issues. And of those 30%, only 3% are actually doing something. We also discussed that traditionally both parties had more of a range of ideological ideas, liberal and conservative views within the same party. And it provided for a much more diverse spectrum in the past than it does today. We used to have conservative and moderate Democrats and liberal Republicans. Paul Engel said that the parties really purged themselves of ideologically opposed members a long time ago, probably much to their own detriment. Prior to this time, we didn't even have the lens of red state, blue state to look through because those terms didn't even exist. Governments contend with other governments, and political parties contend with other political parties and with themselves. And that just leaves us being unheard and trying to get rid of those other people. It's not a good setup. Whenever we try to include everyone, someone is always going to be excluded because that's what culture is. It defines how people are included in any given time and place. By its very nature, it's exclusionary. That's why we feel culture under attack. When I got up to leave the communal table at Starbucks, the guy who asked if it was okay for Black people to sit there apologized and said that I seemed to be a nice person. I told him it was all an act. When I offered the lady an apology the day before, she wouldn't accept it. I asked her, I said, "Well, what answer do you want? What is it you want to hear?" And she couldn't answer that. Did she want to hear me say I'm guilty and that I don't care? Or did she just want me to evaporate? None of us want to tread on each other or infringe on other people's rights, but it happens. If we can do it and still see the humanity in each other, then we're probably on the right track. But if your approach means always having to get rid of someone else, then you're probably on the wrong path. Can we have a civil conversation about the topic of abortion? Probably not. But given the choice between evaporating and having the difficult conversation, I'm going to go for the difficult conversation. If you would like to join us at Conservative Coffee Hour is every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time on Zoom. I will include my email in the description of this video. I'll be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.